Cake Masters magazine is one of the UK's leading cake decorating monthlies. It includes fabulous step-by-step cake tutorials, recipes, expert advice, competitions, interviews, design inspirations and so much more. You can order your 12-month subscription to Cake Masters magazine right here for just £35 and with free UK P&P. To order your 12-month subscription, either visit createandcraft.tv or call 09056 480 480 and quote the item number on your screen.
A very warm welcome to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Create and Craft. You are joining us at 5 p.m. That could only mean one thing. It is time for your Cake Academy. We are in our 9th edition now, the 9th episode of the Cake Academy. You can series link the Cake Academy here on Create and Craft, which is brilliant. So it's Sunday, 5 p.m. every Sunday. Now, during the course of the hour, we have Rosie Cake-Diva with us. We have given you the hints, the tips. You'll see all the techniques. We would encourage you to email in if you've got any questions for Rosie Cake-Diva and if you've got any of your pictures that you'd like to share with us. So do stay tuned. This is your fabulous Cake Academy. Ta-da! Here we are. I'm so truly excited, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for joining us. This is your regular edition of Cake Academy. So first time I'm doing the Cake Academy, actually, we've got Rosie Cake-Diva, of course. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Lovely to see you. I'm so excited.
A new victim.
A new victim. Oh, I'm scared. But during the course of the show, what you will see, you'll see all the details. Whatever Rosie's going to be using this hour, you'll see the details pop up. Very easy. All you have to do is quote the item number. Do give us a call, or of course you can order on the website. So what are we going to do this hour?
Well, it is a lace effects show today.
Fab.
So we're not just doing lace, we're doing lace and things that go with lace, but effectively we're going to do some difficult stuff, we're going to do some easy stuff, so hopefully there's going to be something for everybody.
Oh, there will be. There always is. Really exciting. So, Rosie, you are in charge. At home, you are in charge of emailing us. Email us your photos of your creations. Maybe you make cakes for celebrations. Maybe it's for a football club. Maybe it's for a wedding. Maybe it's you just love baking. Our producer's girlfriend makes the most amazing cakes, and I know she is watching. Andrew, what is your girlfriend's name? Sophie. Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Sophie.
Yeah, we know Rosie. Oh, Rosie, she series links it,
Oh.
Which is fab.
Well, let's hope she's watching live, because I want to see her stuff. Email in, Sophie.
Email in, Sophie. If you're watching us live, email in.
Be brave.
Yeah, I would love to see it. So now, where are we going to start?
Right, well, we've got a few examples of what we're going to do. So let me start with telling you where we're going to go, and then we'll do it. What we're going to do is some of the difficult stuff, which is making your own lace. So what you can see here on this cake that we've done for you is brush embroidery. That is the artistic, do what you want, create what you want, and that is not terribly tricky, but it does require a little bit of artisticness. But then we're going to move on to ways in which you can achieve similar effects, but using the tools and tricks and tips that we're going to give you later on. So we've got some moulds, we've got cake lace. How can we not have a cake effect, a lace effect show without cake lace? But I've also spent a lot of time with the cake lace people this week, and I've got some fantastic tips and tricks, even for the experts, I think, today.
So something for everyone.
So the first thing we're going to do, are you excited?
I
want you to get hands on. Let's see if you can do it, then everybody can do it at home.
Okay.
We're going to do some of this brush embroidery. Now, this cake here has got some quite random, as you can see, some random brush embroidery. If you look at this one here, this was done by Christina Ludlam, who's, I think she's presenting next week.
Yeah.
So this was obviously a little bit more uniform. So you can do all sorts of things with this technique, and it's just using royal icing. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can do that yourself.
Okay.
So let me show you some of the effects that we've done. I've done it on a cupcake here. I thought what we could do today, Jackie, is we could make one and you could take it home and eat it. This is the difficulty. Would you eat it?
I may not even take it home. I may just eat it here.
The problem we have, though, is people will say this at home. If you make cakes and you decorate cakes for a living, often people will come to you a week, 2 weeks later and say, I couldn't eat it. It was too pretty to eat. Eat them. You need to eat them. Yeah, so we're going to do that ourselves. And what I've done is I've started off with some royal icing. Now, I've made the royal icing myself.
Okay.
You can make royal icing very easily, but the thing about royal icing is it's mainly raw egg white and icing sugar. Now, people obviously don't really want to be eating raw egg white, so you tend to use either you can get them in cartons, you can get that's safe, or you can get Merry White, which is an egg, reconstituted egg white powder, so you can do that. So what you have to learn is the consistency, because that's the most difficult thing to do with royal icing. So I've got myself a piping bag here, and what I thought I might do, just for people who are really new to anything cake decorating, is take you from the very beginning.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we've got is we've got some piping bags, and the piping bags that I've got today, hold on a sec, I need to find them.
That's okay.
The piping bags that we've got today are disposable ones, which is really nice and
so
easy
is
to
it,
use.
when we're using, do you think disposable ones are or are they both much of a muchness, whether you're using the disposable ones or the reusable piping bags?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, when you're doing a little bit, I often make my own piping bags, and you can make them out of baking paper. But at the end of the day, if you've got some disposable piping bags and you're going to be doing them, the thing about these is because they're plastic, these will end up really sort of keeping it nice and fresh for a long time. So that's really good.
Okay.
So let me grab one of my icing bags here. These are the Wilton disposable piping bags. I think you've got them on the side here.
You'll see all the details of everything that we're showing you. They will be all on the screen. So anything that you see that we're using, Rosie, I love the name Rosie Cake-Diva, is using, then you can order that way. We were just talking before the show. Rosie, I don't even know your real name. Rosie Cake-Diva was saying that when people call her by her real name, she even thinks, oh, that sounds a bit strange.
It does.
Because she's known across the land now as Rosie Cake-Diva.
I am.
I love that name.
Right, so this is just a normal piping bag.
Lovely.
And all you've got to do is measure up your piping nozzle. Now, what I'd say to anybody, and there are lots of people out there who really don't know where to start with piping nozzles because there are so many. I would say get yourself a basic kit. There is the Wilton do a basic set, and that really does have all the sort of starter nozzles that you need. And to be really honest, even now, with as much piping as I do, 99% of the stuff I do, you can do with that deluxe set.
Fantastic. You can find that on our website, by the way.
Yeah, so these are just a normal round-tipped nozzle, and they do all sorts from size 0 through to size 20, and they get bigger and bigger. They also do the star tips. They do all sorts of different things. I'm just going to use a normal one, and what I'm going to do is size it off to see whereabouts it needs to go, and you just need to cut the piping bag. Now, in the set that you get, you can also get some couplers. Have you heard of couplers? Do you know what a coupler is?
No.
OK, well, this is a coupler. This comes in the set as well. Yeah. And this coupler means that once you've put the coupler in, instead of having a piping nozzle that's now stuck in your piping bag, you can change the piping nozzle. So let me put the coupler in instead. I'll need to make a slightly bigger hole for the coupler than I do for the actual
So that means we can change any time easily?
Yes, so what you do is you pop your... I think you get a couple of these, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think you just get the one in the set. Yeah. There, so you just put that instead of the piping nozzle.
Yeah.
Then you pop your piping tip on, and then you screw it on. So instead of having to change your whole piping bag, you just change the nozzle.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
Great idea.
So that's how I put it together, as you can see.
Lovely.
Okay. What I'm going to show you now is one that I've already put in. I've not used the nozzle because we don't need it. And I'm just going to use a blank piece of icing that I just prepared earlier.
Okay.
We've got some cupcakes. We've got these to do.
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh.
So what I'm going to... Before we go on to the real thing, shall we practice? Okay.
Okay.
So what you can do with this royal icing, and the difficulty, like I say, is the consistency. What you want to do is make sure that the consistency is strong enough to hold its shape, but not too strong that you can't pipe it nicely. Okay. So if I do this now, I'm going to hold my hand just to keep it steady, just like a painter would do this as well sometimes if they're doing some fine artwork. Give yourself a little bit of... So I'm going to pipe myself there. So you see the beads that we've got on our cake? You could actually do that with a piping nozzle and some royal icing. Okay, so what you want to do is mix your egg white and your icing sugar, and I often add a little bit of lemon juice as well. Just to that consistency. The lemon juice? Well, it kind of keeps it, I think it keeps it better. It keeps it stabilises it. That's the word, it stabilises it. So that now I've got that let me just show you the effect that I'm going to do for this brush embroidery. I've got a paintbrush. This is from the Wilton range again. And I've just got some water here. I'm just going to get myself ready with a paper towel.
This is absolutely fascinating.
Okay.
Oh, honestly.
So what you want to be able to do is to brush some of your icing, okay? So can you see how I can drag that down?
Yeah.
So once you can do that, the way that we're going to do this brush embroidery is very similar, but we're going to do it in a pattern.
So that's where it makes it look very sort of feathery.
Yeah.
There on the actual petals.
Now, if you're struggling, if people at home are really not very good artistically, this is how easy it can be. You can use a cutter. This is just a flower cutter. You can get any sort of flower cutter, and you can use it just to impress the shape that you want to do, or you can use a little bit of edible petal dust and you can paint the pattern. That's what I tended to do with the one that I did. I painted it actually. So then using the piping bag, so what I've done is I've twisted it so that I've got the pressure is going to be easier to pipe. So all I've got to do is pipe in the right place.
You hold it.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and follow, there we go. I'm just going to follow the shape of my petal. Now you can see that what Christine has done here, she's done a very, very strict pattern in what she's done. What I've done over there is a little more loose. So you've got lots of room to play with it, so you don't have to be as perfect. Whereas obviously that, for Christine's, if she hadn't done it accurately, you'd notice the difference, wouldn't you? Yeah. So what I'm then going to do is using my brush, and I'm actually going to use one of the brushes that's a little more square. You see that? That's one of the squarer brushes. Yeah. What I'm going to do, this is the way I did mine, and you can go straight to the second stage if you want, but this is the first stage that I tended to do with mine.
And would you do, sorry Rosie, would you do one petal at a time?
Well, the reason I've just done the one now is because if I do the whole lot, by the time I get to the very end, it's probably going to be too dry. So this way, I've still got it nice and easy to work with, and I'll just do the one petal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to brush in. And this is the way I did my design. Now, a lot of people just do it so that you end up with a nice clean edge and you do it once. But I'm going to do this twice, and I'll show you why. Because I wanted my pattern to be a little more soft, a little more gentle. So that's what I did. I got myself a base, and then I piped again. And you can see from the flowers that I did it quite randomly and not very straight at all, which is great for somebody who's not very good because you don't have to be perfect.
That's right.
So if you can see, what I then did was I took my piping nozzle, let me clean it. You have to keep cleaning it.
It looks more natural. Because,
that's what I was aiming for. So you can see there's two different styles there. This is the easier one, I think, because you can make it any way you like and nobody will know whether it's right or wrong. So all I'm going to do is go over, I'm shaking there now, there we go. I'm going to go over what I've done. Let me just mess it up a bit there. See how I've messed it up? Okay, so having messed it up, what I'm then going to do is take my brush, I'm just going to water it again.
Is that flat brush again?
No, I'm going to take the first one, which is a little more pointy, and I'm going to use my brush to pull it in. You see how I'm doing that effect there? And because I've already got a layer underneath, it's making that, just the edge, really nice and defined, but it's not actually as contrasting as perhaps.
But it's giving it a lot of depth there.
Yeah, so that's what we'll do. Do you want to have a go? Do you think you've got a steady enough hand?
It might be too soon.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. This one I've done earlier. So as you can see, all I've done is I've done the first stage, which is bringing a general layer underneath. Now I'm going to do the second layer. So if I do the first one, do you want to do the second? All right, then. So all I'm going to do, so this is how I've made it easy for you, Jackie, just so the harder bit's done. Now we've got something to go on. So I'm just going to look.
So
remember,
a bit squiggly.
Squiggly, nice and easy. Yeah. So we don't have to be perfect, remember? I like anything that means we don't have to be perfect. I think it helps, though, because I think people realise that they don't have to be amazing. They can get away with it if they know the techniques to use. So here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull it in, and I'm going to keep my brush a little bit wet.
And that's advisable, to keep the brush...
Well, I just don't want to be dragging when I've got sort of like... a brush full of royal icing. So I'm just going to pull it in. And you use the brush to define everything that you want to define. So there are the edges. And then this edge here, I just use the brush to define it when it comes to doing it against the next one. The same here. But it doesn't really matter. No. Do you want to have a go doing it and see how...
Yes.
I was getting a very shaky hand. This is hard, you know, on telly. Yeah.
I know.
Right.
Okay, so hold on.
Is the nozzle clean? The tip clean? So there we go. Let's clean the tip and just do your little squiggles,
So
and then we'll brush
should
it
I
in.
do the squiggles from down here?
I tended.
Oh, no.
Well,
I'm
you
sorry.
can. This is the other thing. If you're doing it on something that's already dry, so the fondant on here is already dry.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, you can just wipe it off, which again is a really. So you can sit and potter until you get it right, which is wonderful.
So I should really
So
start.
clean your nozzle. Is your nozzle clean?
Clean
Tip.
the nozzle.
There we go.
Okay, and then
I would start about here.
here.
Yeah, just for this particular design. And what I want people to understand is they can do whatever design they like. They can, there we go, pull it in. And now let's see, I'm going to give you a jug of water here.
Yes.
And here's a piping, paper towel.
I've done a little wiggle.
Yep, and just brush it, bring it in. So what you want to do is you want to get little ridges on the edge, and that's what you're aiming for. Isn't that pretty though? By the time you sit there, you have to be watching the telly though. You have to be watching something you really like to watch.
Like the Cake Academy.
Like Cake Academy. I won't lie, a lot of decorating techniques take a long time, as people at home will absolutely know. Any cake decorator will tell you. There you go. So all we have to do is finish doing that around the edge. You're going to go again. You're in the mood. Is this the one you're going to take home?
It might. Oh no! Wait.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. There we go. So let's take that off. Ta-da!
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So this is why I say I love any technique that means that you can get away with it not being perfect.
Wiggle, wiggle.
And the tip of making sure your fondant is perfectly dry before you start means look how easy it is to correct your mistakes.
Okay.
And with something that Christine's done, that sort of design, you absolutely want to be able to get rid of anything that you pipe incorrectly. It's not terribly easy to have a steady hand all the time. Yeah, are you going to be doing this at home now?
Yes.
There we go. So do you think you could do that at home?
Yeah.
The people at home think they can do that. That's the important thing. So what I've done,
great.
as you can see, what I did was I did my first layer.
Yeah,
and when
so
I'd
we
done
did
my
the-
first layer, before I'd started doing my second layer, what I then did was I used a piping nozzle, and I actually used a much thinner piping nozzle. This is a number 2. I've just got this for demonstration purposes. For these flowers, I used a 0 and a 1 because I wanted them to be quite delicate around
On
the
these-
edges.
oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Right.
because I wanted everybody to be able to see at home, this is
Yeah.
quite a thick nozzle in comparison.
That's
But
a
then-
good tip to hold the arm.
Yes, I think it really helps because you
Yeah.
know, even artists, they struggle, don't they? They usually have
Yeah.
that stick, don't
Yes,
they? Exactly,
yes.
exactly. Little tips that help enormously. So what I'm just going to do is show you, and this will be very clumpy for those people at home shouting, that's too thick. It's only because I want you to be able to see. So let me put it somewhere you can see. And all I did was I used my nozzle to do a little bit of a string work, just to pretend it was a lace effect. And you sit there and you watch Downton Abbey or
Yeah.
whatever else you
I
watch.
cannot wait until Christmas Day.
I've got a friend who's in it, you know.
No!
She's an extra.
You're
Hello, Elaine.
kidding.
Yes.
Hi, Elaine.
Yes. Can you imagine what a great job that would have been?
How
right.
fab.
So as you can see, it's very
Yes.
clumpy because it's way too thick, but at least it will get me to let me show you easily. What you do, if you are doing any piping and you find that you need to get rid of any of these little, you see these little
Yeah.
lumps here, you can just use a wet paintbrush to smooth it all in. You see that? So anybody at home, if they want to sit there, I'd say use a size 1 or a size 0 piping nozzle. But what you need to be able to do
That's
is
a
just
great
correct
tip.
anything and perfect it as you go along, and it will look a lot neater.
That's a great tip.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that is our, it's called brush embroidery. And just to finish it off... when
I'm
we-
really proud of that.
yeah. Well, if anyone's going to have a go at this at home, all you need to do to finish it off, and this is what I did for the ones on the cake, is I put a central
Yes.
blob, and some of them I put a little pearl in the
Yes,
middle.
yes.
Yeah, you know, little pearl.
Yeah.
And then around the edge you can pipe little stamens just to finish it all off. Oops, see, I made a mistake.
And then that same tip that you said with the...
I would use the 0 or the 1 for that, for the little blobs.
Yeah.
You can see this is quite thick compared
Yes.
to. Well, here you go. There's
Yeah.
the one that I used, and that would have been the size 0.
That's right.
And this is the size 2. So you can see the difference. They all come in the deluxe set.
In the kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice that, you know, you get...
There's a big difference between the 0 and the 1,
There is, but now do you see the benefit in having a, what's the word?
Absolutely.
Coupler.
To have
coupler.
Coupler.
Because you can you only need the one piping bag and you can do all of this. Interchange them.
Really good idea. Really good. Remember the kits, you'll see all the details there for your brush sets. Dive on the website, you'll see all the kits.
That's right.
The coupler. I've never heard of that before.
Well, do you know how easy that makes everything?
Yeah,
because the last thing you want to do is be loading up a piping bag again and again and again. So that's really helpful. OK, so now we've gone through the brush embroidery. I want to take it back a notch for people who can't be bothered.
This one to one side.
You
That's
can
my
do.
one.
You're quick, aren't you?
Yeah.
No flies on you. So now that we've had a go doing the brush embroidery, and I would say out of everything that we're going to do, that's definitely the most difficult because it takes a little bit. Well, it takes a little bit of skill. You've got to have the design in advance. But if you can imagine what you can do, and let me just show you quickly. If you have. This is petal dust. This is one of the rainbow dust petal dust that you've got on your site.
Lovely.
So all you need to do is use a little bit of rejuvenator fluid. So again, you've got the rejuvenator fluid.
Okay.
This is an alcohol, and what this does is it turns the petal dust into a paint. We've done this before. See, Dave's an expert at this.
Is he?
Oh gosh, yes.
I bet he eats them out of cake and kitchen.
I actually have to pull him away from the painting because he really likes the painting part. What I'm going to do is take a little brush. And if I just to show you what we, in fact, I want to use the same one because that's probably the best one to use. If you take a little bit of this petal dust, before you start to do your brush embroidery, you can just draw on what it is.
So could we do like freehand?
Yeah,
That
that's what I did over there. I just drew the flowers on freehand, and some of them were big and some of them were little. So I started with all the big ones, then filled in with the little ones and the leaves, and that meant that when I'd done my first go around of doing the base coat, I then did my lattice effect, because what it meant is that all of my lattice stayed underneath the final flower, so it looked a little bit neater.
Perfect.
So you can use these petal dust just to give you
that's a good idea.
Give you an idea of where you want to be.
Lovely.
Or you can also use them. I mean, here, this is the same petal dust. I've used it to
that's lovely, just to paint that on.
We'll do that later.
Shimmer. Okay, yes, please. Yes, please.
Next, we're going to go on to the easy way to do it. So that was the hard way to do it.
All right.
The easy way to do it is cake lace, obviously. And I love cake lace. I'm a little bit evangelical about cake lace because anyone will tell you who does cakes, for a beginner it's wonderful, but also for someone who's an expert, to be able to do that effect on a cake is wonderful. So what I've done is, you can have a look at the black cake. This black and yellow cake is the Eternity cake lace mat, which is beautiful.
That's stunning. That really is incredible.
It is.
If anyone's just tuning in, they'll probably think that is actual lace. Well, actual lace fabric.
It's one of the. I think it's one of the most revolutionary products because to be able to do that. I mean, the reason people started doing this brush embroidery was to try and get effects like that. I've loved the idea that you can use it on its own. If you're a beginner, to make a cake look amazing, that's all you need. And it's so easy to do. If you're an advanced person, even people who make amazing wedding cakes, they incorporate cake lace into their cakes. It still looks beautiful.
Absolutely. It's so fine, isn't it?
It is.
You
it's
get
fine.
That beautiful result.
It's stunning. And right, what I've got to show you. Have you used it before?
Yeah, well, I've been on with them with Claire.
And she's so good.
It just fascinates me.
Well, what I've done is the reason this is out like this is because I've had to bring it like this just to show you. But this is one of the great tips that I've been given for cake lace, is instead of putting it in the oven, if you're ever struggling with the temperature of your oven, you can also leave it overnight.
So these the mats we put in the oven anyway.
Yes. You can put them in the oven, but if you don't want to put them in the oven, or if you don't have an oven, you can leave them overnight and it will still dry overnight.
Fine.
So let's stop for anyone who hasn't ever used cake lace. This is the vintage rose. As you can see, I've been using bits and pieces.
There's a lot of designs on this.
There's loads, and I'll come back to that in a minute because I'm going to show you my favourite tip that I've learned.
Yes, please.
Which actually has revolutionised my way of using cake lace. Yeah, and I've been using it a while now, and I'm so impressed with myself. But hold on a sec, let me show you first, for those people who have never used it before, how easy it is to use. So this is a cake lace mat. As we say, you can put it in the oven. It's a silicone mat that's got all of the beautiful designs in it. And I'm
Very
going to
intricate, the designs, aren't they?
Beautiful,
Yeah.
absolutely stunning, and it's amazing that it holds together,
Yes,
isn't it? It's so
yes.
delicate looking.
Yes.
But as you can see, I mean, look, this is a piece of the lace. Like you can see, it's not necessarily as delicate as you think it would be. Right, I'm going to get it all
But
over
you've
my
got that
hands now.
fluidity with it as well, to be able to lay it down on your cake.
Yes. Right, so here, this is ready-made. You can get cake lace ready-made, especially the pearlised ones come ready-made.
Yeah.
Or you can get it so you make it at home yourself. So, for instance, the white, you would mix that with, it literally is mixed with water. That's how easy it is, yes.
Wow.
You get a powder that
Yeah.
you mix with water, you add a little bit of gel that comes with it. That's
Everything
it.
comes in the
That's
pot.
all you have to do. And the best thing about it is once you've made it, you can keep that in the fridge for a week. So you just
that's
put it in a Tupperware,
brilliant. Yeah.
keep it, so you make a whole load. Even better than that is once you've made a little bit of cake lace like that, you can just get, so a little bit of paper. This is how I store it. If you take one of your cake
Is that
lace...
greaseproof paper?
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
got the cake lace greaseproof paper.
Yes, but you could any
grease
and you.
proof.
This is just a really nice and easy
Yeah,
way
yeah.
to store that sort of size. But effectively, I just keep it wrapped up, and that will stay
And
for
then
a
you can-
year. A year.
Really?
Yeah. So you can keep this done. So you make a whole batch of it, and every time you have a special cake to do, you can just pull out one of these.
So long as each layer you just put...
Just make sure that it's nice and dry and clean and prepared.
A year we can
a year,
keep...
a whole year.
That's amazing.
That's fantastic. So,
Yeah.
all I'm going to do, just for those people who have never done it before, this one is a ready-made. You've got various colours. You've got all sorts of colours you can
Yes.
get hold of. The gist is you just have to paddle it into the lace mat. And once you've paddled it in, and you have to keep sort of looking to see
Yeah.
where you've missed out. Once you've done that, you can put it in the oven, and it's usually between about 12 and 20 minutes. It depends,
not long at
really.
all.
Not long, but everybody's oven is different.
Yes,
So what
yeah.
I tend to do is to keep the oven really low, because the slow effect means I'm not going to end up with it messing up, really.
Yes.
So what you do, we had a question last time when I was with Dave. A lady said that she was struggling with the gold because it was going too brittle. But actually, what you should do if you are struggling is turn the temperature down.
Yeah.
And leave it overnight instead, because by leaving it overnight, you're not going to overdo it.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the way that you do it, and then once you've done that, so if I can just, obviously I don't need to show everybody how you do that, but you can see that what you have to do is you have to scrape off the top,
Yeah.
and in scraping off the top, sometimes you end up with a little residue. So that's why I've left this to show you.
Oh, okay.
Because that's my big tip for today, which I learned from Cake Lace people this week. If you have, let me just get rid of this out of the way so I can show you. So this mat, which has been in my car today, which is why it's all popping out, but I did want to show you this. If you have all of this stuff that's...
the residue that we
the
can
residue.
see.
And obviously, because it's so delicate, you want to get all of those little bits. You want them to be nice and clean.
Yeah.
What you can do is take a wipe. So this is just a lot of the, I can't give brand names, but a lot of the ones that you get for kitchen cleaning, surface cleaning, are food safe. So they are suitable for kitchen. Yes, they're suitable for kitchen surfaces. So what you can do is just wipe it. And then all of that residue, so all of these bits at the edge, where where I've got a little bit clunky there, I can make sure that isn't. This one's already off.
Great tip.
So that's a really nice way. See there, you see that's come off there. This is why I wanted to show you. Instead of doing that, if I had done this first. So what you then do is leave it for 10 minutes. Don't pull it straight up because you've now wet it a little bit.
Yeah.
So just do it once it's nice and dry, but not quite come out. Do that, get the clean edges, then pull it out, and then you've got a beautiful...
How stunning is that?
A beautiful piece of cake lace. That's a really lovely tip, because now what I find is that I don't overwork it. I don't spend ages and ages trying to get it nice and clean.
Yes,
I've got time to work with it.
I love that tip.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
this is the rose, the vintage rose, which I think is absolutely stunning. And what you can see is if you look at the, the black cake there, that's the vintage rose behind the cameo. Can you see the vintage rose? So it's a really useful thing to do. And the one thing that I would say, again, another tip, is if you are trying to put a cake to put lace on a cake, a really easy way to do it. Yeah. And we have done this before, but for those people who've missed out, this is a steamer. Oh. So I filled it with water. It's really easy to do. Yeah. So you just put some water in there.
Lovely.
Okay. And then you turn it on. and within a couple of minutes it will start to steam up. And let me just get one of these cakes. Oh, I think we've used it. We've done the brush embroidery on it already. But what you would do, I'll show you on it anyway.
Yeah.
What you do is wait till the steam comes out, and I've done this for all of the big cakes. Imagine trying to put this onto a cake. It's very complicated and hard to handle.
Yes.
But if you have a steamer...
Oh, I get it. You're going to add a little bit of moisture.
Yeah,
so
but don't steam the lace because that will dissolve. What you want to do is steam the cake. What you will see, and this is why it's quite important for people at home to see this so they don't panic because you've done your beautiful cake. Yeah. You steam it and think, what did Rosie tell me to do? Look what's happened to my cake. So let's wait till there's the steam coming out. I'm going to steam the cake. Can you see it's gone all glossy and wet?
Yes.
So then someone's going to panic and say, oh, look at that. But it will dry. It will dry matte.
And it's so gentle then with the steam.
So then what I'm going to do is take my cake lace, put it on, and hopefully it will stick.
Oh,
there we go.
I see.
So instead of having to battle with it, especially, I mean, this is a little rose, but imagine doing it with something much more delicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a much easier way to get it to go on there. Okay?
That's beautiful.
And that will dry, all that gloss will dry. Okay?
I mean, that's just, I mean, the mats are incredible. They really are.
They are, they're wonderful.
Yeah. The detailing is amazing. You can see all the details of everything that Rosie Cake-Diva is using on this edition of Cake Academy. It's all on our website. It's all on, of course, the screen. If you want to go to the Cake Academy website, we've got a Cake Academy website. We love it. The website, they've got their own page. So there you can see everything. You can see the lace effects there with Rosie Cake-Diva. You can see the amazing array of hints and tips and techniques. You can also have a look at previous shows. So if you've missed a show, you've missed a lesson, then of course you've got your projects on there as well. There is loads. And it gives you a little, you know, soupçon of what's coming up as well, what to look forward to. And I love the fact that we have got the previous shows, so if you have missed any of the previous shows, then of course you can have a look at it there on the website. OK, so what we're going to do next? Well,
we're going to go on to an even easier way, I think, is to manage with the moulds and impression mats.
OK.
So actually what I've done is I've done a little bit of mixing and matching. So can you see this one here, this layer here on the purple? We've got the purple layer. Yeah. That's a combination. Can you see the royal icing? Just like we did earlier. So that will have been using the 0 nozzle, the 0 size round nozzle. And these are actually pressed out of a mould. Oh, so I've mixed the two together in order to make a similar effect. So we've kind of combination of skills, shall we say?
A mash-up.
A mash-up of skills. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you which mould I've used for that particular one. Yeah. And this is the Karen Davis cut-out pieces mould. That's what it is.
OK.
And what it provides is a bunch of kind of, I don't know, they are definitely lace effects, aren't they?
Oh, definitely.
And what
these are all moulds as well?
Yeah, these are all from moulds. These are all from the moulds. Have you broken it or eaten it?
Sorry.
Have you eaten it? Have you seriously eaten it? Do you know if I've dropped that on the floor in the kitchen or anything?
10-second rule.
Don't do that at home. Do not do that. It's been in sanitised conditions. You're safe, Jackie. You're completely safe. So that's what we've been using to make a similar effect, but using a little bit of a combination of the two.
OK.
So what I've done is I'll show you using some moulds in a second. The thing about the moulds is these are actually really good quality moulds.
Yes.
I've also been using this mould, which is the Art Deco mould. Can you see these beautiful
these almost
effects?
like swags.
Aren't they lovely?
Yeah.
And they're so easy to do. But this mould has just become one of my favourites.
That's the great thing about moulds. I mean, it will make you look like you have spent literally days, literally days doing that. I mean, that's so. It's a standout decorative cake,
it's beautiful, isn't it? Well, it is a gorgeous mould.
Yes.
So what I've done is I've combined the use of moulds and I've combined the use of the petal dusts in order to give that effect as well. Because sometimes what you find is that when you use the petal dust, it brings the mould out. So if I can ask you, do you dare touch the cake? If we can turn this round for the people at home, you can see what I did was I did a little bit of everything for you. What I've done is on this side here, I've actually used some petal dusts to bring out
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's a different effect. I think it's quite a harsh effect compared to the soft effect, but it's, you know, horses for courses, and
it gives
you
it that
another
lovely
option.
sort of, like when it hits the light. It's almost like the lights hit it.
So I thought you might like to have a go at that, just to show,
Yes.
because again we're using the petal dust. So I've got
Okay.
a little bit of pearl petal dust here, and again try to use one of the brushes that's got that sort of square end to it, because it tends to, you'll probably need a bigger one for that, because it has to brush across the top.
Right.
So if I add a little bit of rejuvenator fluid to your there.
And the rejuvenator fluid, do I just sort of take a little bit of the, like
load your brush up, and then take off the excess, and what you want to do is brush it. Can I tell you, David was really good at this.
Oh!
He was almost like an expert at this.
You know what, Dave?
I'm not, no pressure.
Yeah.
Right, so that's too dry now. That's too dry. You need it to not be powdery anymore. So get rid of the powder, but you have to work quickly.
Okay.
Again, no pressure, because this alcohol evaporates really quickly. But it's great for using with any sort of
and then am I just...
Yeah, brush across.
So should I hold it?
Yeah, brush across and you'll get the effect. Bring out the effect of it. So it's a different effect, and I think it's very sweet. It's nice to have the option. A really nice, easy way to do it. What I'll do is I'll do this Art Deco. So I'll show people how we use these moulds. There we go.
That's not bad.
Watch out, David. You've got a contender here. He was very good. I had to stop him. He wouldn't stop, you know.
Well, that's our Dave. Give him an inch. Take a mile.
Sorry, Dave, we don't mean it. Right. No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some corn flour. So this is filled with corn flour, which is great for dusting, and you do need to dust these moulds. My fingers are going to get all white now. Okay. I get it all over my clothes. You know when a postman comes and you've got it all over yourself, and you wish you'd put your apron on. Right, so this is a dust and store thing. So can you see? This is great. They gave me this. I love it.
I love that idea.
I do. I love it because I'm constantly using this. But you put your
corn flour
in the top. Sometimes I use a combination of corn flour and icing sugar. I don't know why. I think that's just what someone told me at the very beginning, but I'm not entirely sure why. But
and
this
then
is
you've
just
got a little
corn flour.
bag inside there.
And then you've got the little bag inside, and you just use it to dust
That's
with.
great.
And then this catches the excess, which is fine.
Absolutely
right,
great.
So knock that all out.
Lovely.
And then I've just got some. This is sugar paste. I need to say this for people who are not from England, because you do have viewers who aren't from England, don't
yes,
you?
oh, absolutely.
In America, they call this fondant. We don't. We call it sugar paste.
That's right.
But nowadays, because everything is online, you kind of need to understand the difference, because I do get lots of questions from people who are confused.
But there is no difference between fondant and sugar. It's just we call it different things.
The name. We call fondant the sort of runny stuff that you pour over cakes.
Yes.
But it's just that difference causes confusion. Now, what I've done is I've added Tylo powder to this. Now, Dave's an expert on this.
It's really good.
Because what this powder does is it changes your sugar paste from something that's nice and soft and sticky to something that's actually really got some substance to it.
Yes, a bit more robust.
A bit more strength,
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to pop in, and you can do it a few different ways. I've tended to start wearing gloves to do this, you know.
Why?
Well, I feel that my hands get quite sticky, and when I'm using gloves and working with any sort of sugar paste, it works so much better for me. So when you're mixing colour in, sometimes when you're mixing colour in and your hands get sticky and you have to wash them and start all over again, if you've got gloves on, actually,
would you say that there's disposable gloves?
Yeah, I just use disposable sort of food-safe gloves. Right, I'm going to do it this way. You can just, if you're using the right amount, you can. The reason that I've actually loaded it in is because the delicacy, let me show you one that's all done up. The delicacy of this particular one, I want the sugar paste to go all the way in.
Yes, of
and
course.
I don't want to be pushing it as I go along and miss out on any of those edges. So what I've chosen to do is just cut the end off, or the excess, and hope...
So you're just running the knife flat against?
Yeah, just to make sure I've got the right amount. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make absolutely certain that I push in the edges. So I don't want any of that excess in the edges, and I want to make sure I get the detail beautifully. So I'm just going to get rid of the excess.
So you just don't want any overhang, is that?
No, overhang.
Overhang. Well,
That's a technical term now. I'm going to use it in my lessons. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So that's what you want to do. Now, these are really lovely moulds. So if I've got the sugar paste right, it should come out perfectly. Now, let me tell you, that's
incredible.
There you go, isn't that beautiful? But that's really lucky. People who are at home and they don't get it coming out beautifully first time, don't think you've done anything wrong, because in different conditions, sugar paste can get sticky.
Yes.
You might not have enough Tylo powder in it. Everybody struggles with moulds at some point, but if you've got the right amount of Tylo powder in a good brand of sugar paste, it should be fine. If you're struggling, you can always pop it in the freezer. If you, for some reason, you've not got the right consistency and you're struggling, pop it in the freezer. It will come out fine. But if you have got the right consistency and a good mould, which these are, they should come out
You'll get those results every time. And that, remember, if I'll just show you there, is how these sort of swags were created there. And then just using our...
Right, wait, you need a probably a different brush. Let me get you a different brush that's going to help. Here, you'll need the rejuvenating fluid, remember?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yes. So if you pop that, because it might break if you hold it, so pop it down flat and use it to dust anything you want, really. What I also did, for those people at home who can see the detailing, is before I put the silver on, what I tended to do is over here, in all of these little crevices, I just dry brushed a little bit of petal dust to bring out all of the pattern, which was quite pretty. There you go. Dave really has nothing on you, does he?
Well...
I really enjoyed doing this. I could have sat there putting swags all the way up the cake, because I was really enjoying this bit. And there's such pretty... I think this has become my favourite mould. This is the Art Deco filigree mould, and it is potentially now on everybody's Christmas shopping list, I think.
I am not surprised.
If that was in your stocking, you wouldn't be unhappy, would you?
Absolutely. Remember, we've got all of the moulds on the website as well. So do jump on the website. There you'll see all the details, of course. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away now.
Yes, and don't worry. I think everybody at home would get carried away with that. I was finding myself a little bit entranced by the whole thing.
I love it.
Let me show you some of the other bits and pieces that I've used as well.
Please.
See the brooch? Let me take these away so that we can have a look at that. You crack on. You carry on, Jackie. Don't worry, I'll take over.
Yes, please.
The brooches that we've done, if the camera can hone in on these brooches, these were a godsend for me, because I really was thinking, should I do ribbons? And I actually loved these brooches in the end. So this is the brooch mould. This is the vintage brooch mould from Karen Davies. And you get all of these...
those are... I was going to ask you about this, actually. For a minute, I must admit, I was looking at it and thinking... Is that a real brooch?
No,
that Rosie has stuck on the cake?
Aren't they gorgeous, though?
They're stunning.
But there were all these to choose from, and this was my... Genuinely, this was my problem. Which one do you choose? I went on social networking and asked people to help me. Help me. Help me, which do I use?
There's a lot of moulds on there.
There's a lot, and they all would have looked beautiful. Each one of them would have done the job beautifully. I also was thinking, let's put them inside flowers. You could do all sorts with them. And again, you get the chance to use your petal dust to bring out... I mean, it totally brings them out when you use those dusts. So that was another one of the moulds that I've used for this. See, anyone at home now can pretty much make this cake.
Well, with the techniques that you've just showed us...
Yeah. Can they not?
Then, of course.
I'm feeling like we've given it all away.
No, it's good to share a craft.
So let me just move on to, do you know, if we're lucky, if we have time, I may even show you how we've done the frills, and then basically they can do the lot themselves, can't they?
Oh, really?
I'll be making myself completely redundant.
No, never. Never.
The bead mould, this bead mould is absolutely wonderful.
Is this what we're seeing?
That's what you're seeing over there. I think the best thing about this, and I'm so gutted that I have to tell you all, because I think people at home were thinking I'm amazing.
When I walked into the studio, I thought, how has Rosie achieved that?
Yeah, the easiest thing to do. It was so easy. I'm sorry, I'm not amazing at all.
You are amazing.
This mould was. So this mould is like it's a pearl band mould. It's, again, another Karen Davies mould. It's the pearl band mould, and obviously, I think most people would expect to do it in pearls. I chose to do it in black, and I think it looks stunning. It would look just as stunning in pearl colour. I think you have to make those decisions as a cake designer. Which way am I going to go? And I went with the black, but you could just as easily do a wedge wedding cake.
Very dramatic.
And again, do you know the
Yes.
best thing about all of this? If you're not amazing at making cakes, so if you're not amazing at getting that basic cake beautiful and square and clean, this hides everything, so you can get away with it. So this is doing all the... Anyone who's got cracks and they're not really great at doing all the covering, this is a great answer.
That's a great idea.
It's a great cheat. Dare I say it's a cheat?
Well,
it's just a technique.
It's a technique.
It's a great technique.
It's a great technique, yeah.
And let me just now move on to... Oh, whilst you're there, don't get rid of that, because you can do this too. You can do this one as well. I've got another job for you, Jackie.
OK.
This is an impression mat, so yet another technique for doing it. We've gone through quite a few techniques,
which is great, yeah.
These are the Katie Sue Design impression mats, and these are fabulous because
Are they like
easily...
stamps?
They are. They're just impression mats which you can use to make a pattern. So here's one that's done. This is just the rose. That's the vintage rose. So this rose pattern, if you bring it out, would you like to do your magic with your
I might
brush
need some...
Here.
Oh,
Here,
yes.
let me grab some for you. But if you can do your magic on there, you can bring the pattern out very quickly.
OK.
And
Shall I use the flat brush?
Yes, I'd use the flat brush if I were you.
OK. See, oh, look at me now.
Because it glides across the top and it doesn't get stuck in the rivets, and you want to glide across the top, don't you?
OK, so...
Right. Hold on. So suddenly there. Can you see how beautiful that is?
Yeah. That's amazing.
And again, if you see what Christina has done is, Christina, if you look at the green cake here, Christina's used that technique to bring out... Can you see how she's used it to bring out the background there and on the ribbon and on the board? And there are 3 mats here. I think this one is called the Royal, and then there's the Duchess. So this is the Royal, this is the Duchess, and this is the Rose pattern. And those 3 mats between them make all these beautiful effects. Look at that, transformed it.
Yeah.
I think that's really gorgeous. And you can just pop that. So buttercream swirl on a cupcake with that on top. It's beautiful, isn't it? And you can see that actually, if I can put these down here so the camera can see them, these are ones that Christina's done for me.
That's lovely. Oh, wow.
Aren't they stunning? So if you put a coloured background that really brings out the pattern above. So this one is the Royal. This is the Duchess.
Oh, wow.
You've got the Rose. Here's another one with the rose with the... So you've done the silver. This is the gold. Aren't they beautiful? So let me show you how quickly, quickly you can use these.
Yeah, beautiful. Really lovely.
I'll just take a little bit of this
I like
sugar
this.
paste.
Yeah.
So again, I've got the Tylo added because it does need to have the strength. So what I've done is I'm just going to roll that out a little bit, but if you can see that I'm just going to dust this. Let me get these out of the way.
I like that dusting tool.
I love it, I know. I really got excited about it.
Yeah.
The little things. Are you one of those people, when I go
yeah.
to a craft shop, I literally get excited.
Yeah, but it's the little things that you think, why didn't someone think of that before? That's genius.
Yeah, but I have to have it.
You have to
and
have
I don't know what to do with it, but I have to have it. I'm never going to have enough time to do all the things I want to do.
I know.
Right, so all I'm doing, I've got something on, doesn't matter. All I'm doing is rolling it on, and then if I take that out, I could then use a cutter.
Yeah.
And there I've used a circle cutter. You can use any cutter you like. There we go, to make any pattern you like.
Fab.
So it's just giving you that texture.
Yeah.
And these 3 mats are really pretty.
That's lovely. Again, you can see all the details. You'll see all the details popping up on the screen there. Very easy. Just take note of the item number. And, of course, you can give us a call, or, of course, you can dive on the website, order that way, all the www.creatingcraft.tv. Don't forget, Cake Academy do have their own page on the website as well. And there you'll see everything on there. You'll see previous shows if you've missed them. There's our Rosie Cake-Diva there. You've got all your hints, tips and techniques. You can see all the sort of... you get great sort of deals as well. You can see there, the Wilton 10% off. Mr. Lesson, you can catch up. And then there's also a teaser of what's to come. So it's a good place to go to. And don't forget the Cake Masters magazine. You can get your 3 back issues, which are great, and we love that we can give you that offer. There's the details there on the screen. A really great magazine to go for as well, and one that you'll keep as your resource almost, and it's got everything that you need in there as well.
Yeah, do you read it? It's really
good. But it's really comprehensive.
It's got everything, so it has interviews and it has tips and techniques, but it has full full tutorials. So and it has a variety. So people who are beginners, people who are intermediates, people who are advanced. It shows so many different styles of techniques. It's one to keep. It's not one to put
right.
It
is one to keep as your reference guide also.
It's my favourite.
Yeah.
Okay, I am now going to show you how to do the pièce de résistance, the cameo brooch.
Lovely.
So I've used it, Christina's used it, and it's so beautiful. That little thing, I think, completely lifts the whole cake, doesn't it?
But that would even be lovely on a cupcake, wouldn't it?
Well, it is lovely on a cupcake. It is lovely on a cupcake. There we go. So what we've got is the ability to have something on a cake that just becomes a focal point and totally lifts that whole cake. And because it's so delicate, I think this is a really beautiful, beautiful mould. Can you see that I've used that piping technique on that just to ring the edge? I think that was using a number 1 piping nozzle with the royal icing, just as we said before. So for those people who want to make their own royal icing, a little bit of reconstituted egg white and icing sugar, dash of lemon juice, just until it gets to the right consistency.
Yeah,
easy.
Beautiful.
There we go. And we've shown everyone how to do it now. There's no excuse.
No excuse at all.
Right, what I'm going to do, and this is a tricky one for me because I need to make sure that this stuff is at the right consistency that I'm going to put in, because I really don't want it to stick in there. Lovely. So I'm just going to dust it. This is the Cameo brooch mould. This is a Katie Sue Designs mould.
Lovely.
And because it's so delicate, I think it's worth taking a little bit of time over this to get it absolutely right. So what I'm going to do is inlay. So it's the same as we've done before with the moulds, but we're just going to, instead of painting it, because I think sometimes it can look a bit clunky if you were trying to paint around a mould. Instead of doing that, we're actually going to be nice and clean, and we're going to inlay. So I've got a little bit, and it is such a tiny amount that I need, and I'm going to pop it. I don't even know if they can see at home. Can you see closely enough? I'm just popping. Oh, yes, you can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my tools. This is my Dresden tool, which everybody knows this is my favourite tool because it's so useful. Everyone needs to have. If you're trying to do cake decorating and you haven't got a basic tool set, you're going to find things very difficult.
You do need the tool set, don't you?
Makes all the difference.
Yeah, I mean, like this Dresden tool that you've got there. We do have the tools, obviously.
Yeah, you have the set of tools
on the website. You have to have those.
You have to, and they're not expensive, but you keep they're there for life. So can you see what I've done is I've now made sure that I've used my tool to bring in the edges and make sure it's pressed in really carefully. Now you know why it really has to be the right consistency, this sugar paste, because if it isn't, it will stick, because it's so delicate. Now what I don't want to do is have the excess. You see that excess? I'm going to try and take it away, because if I have excess, it will overhang and it will push out, and I don't want that. So I'm trying to get rid of that. Now I'm going to hopefully have the right amount. Very delicate.
Yeah, but worth it.
I know. Christina will be watching me thinking, I did that too. We've been both making these little cameo brooch ones. I think they're so pretty. And look, what I've done is I've done them in different colours as well. You can have such fun with everybody on social networking will be saying, we've seen those, because I was asking them, which one? Which one did we go for the right one? We went for the grey and white in the end, is what I used. Did we do right?
Lovely.
Did we do right? Has anyone emailed in? We want people emailing in with their pictures. I need to...
Oh, we have got an email. Oh, hold on a second. We've got a picture. Quick. We've got about 4 minutes left.
Don't worry. We're there.
This is from Eleanor. She says, hi, this is the first wedding cake I've made in lace effect. It was for my niece's wedding.
It's beautiful.
I only make cakes as a hobby. Very useful hints and tips on the show today. That's incredible.
It's gorgeous. Did she say it's the only one she's ever made?
It was... what she says, she only makes cakes as a hobby.
Well, there you go.
And this is the first wedding cake she's made using the lace effect.
Wonderful, beautiful.
Eleanor, that's incredible.
Eleanor,
that is a showstopper.
Come and work with me. Right, so now, as you can see, I've just finished.
Amazing.
That was beautiful, actually.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing how talented some people are. Right, so there we have... So pray now, start praying that this is going to come out. So what I've done is I've just pressed the other colour on the back, and I'm trying to make sure there it is.
Oh,
there it is. Can we see?
I daren't pick it up because it's still soft. I daren't pick it up because you know me.
But as you can see, once you've done it, they will go hard, and that's the time.
How long will that take to...
Not long, but actually I tend to leave things overnight. If you're trying to plan, do something, leave it overnight, and then it will be fine, won't
Right,
it?
lovely.
So obviously all you then have to do is do the frame.
Yes.
Pop it into the frame, and Bob's your uncle, you've got a cameo brooch and you look amazing.
It just is
Beautiful, isn't it?
exquisite. Really, really exquisite. Remember, everything that you've seen on the show, you will find on the website. What are the key things? You said the tools.
I would definitely say it's useful to have tools. You have to have the tools.
Yeah.
You have to have Tylo powder. No cake decorator ever manages without Tylo powder. If you do, let me know how, because I would love to know how. Tylo powder's wonderful. The tools are wonderful. I would really say, if you want something in your Christmas stocking, go for the deluxe decorating set, which is all the nozzles, the tips, the couplers, and it also has some flower nails. But it also has the you know, the nozzles that you use to pipe swirls on cupcakes.
Yes.
All the ones that you could possibly need. I would say they would be great to have. And as you can see, even if you don't necessarily use buttercream, just to be able to do the edging and the piping that we've been doing today is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, what an amazing, amazing hour. Remember, you can dive on our website, createandcraft.tv. On the website there, you will find everything that our Rosie has been using. Of course, you've got your Cake Academy page as well, your sort of landing page. There you can see previous episodes of the Cake Academy, and there you'll see previous shows as well, and we'll give you a little tease of what's coming up, which we absolutely love. And I love the fact that, remember, this show, don't forget, you can series link the show on always at 5 o'clock here on Create and Craft at 5 p.m, which is fabulous. So next week you're taking a break.
Christina's here.
Christina's here next week.
She's amazing.
Incredible. But that's what we love about having our Cake Academy show, is that every episode you're going to learn something new.
We hope so. And for everybody.
Oh, yes.
Not just if you're a beginner, but also if you've got some skills and you just want to do something different, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, really beautiful. Don't forget, remember to join us next week. Join us here at Create and Craft next week for another edition of your Cake Academy. Rosie, you've been amazing.
We've got to eat cake
Thank
now.
you. I know. We are.
We have cupcakes.
We are going to eat cake any second now. And don't forget also, if you do want to grab any of the goodies that you've seen our Rosie using this hour, then do dive on the website, all the w's.createandcraft.tv. It's been lovely having your company this Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We shall see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Cake Masters magazine is one of the UK's leading cake decorating monthlies. It includes fabulous step-by-step cake tutorials, recipes, expert advice, competitions, interviews, design inspirations, and so much more. You can order your 12-month subscription to Cake Masters magazine right here for just £35 and with free UK P&P. To order your 12-month subscription, either visit createandcraft.tv or call 09056 48